Okay, good day to everyone. We're on page 194 in the Maimer Basi Legani, 5711, 1951. To recap, the two most important points that we learned yesterday, and again, this Maimer is the mission statement that the Rebbe, our Rebbe, shared with the entire world vis-a-vis the first mimer that he said, which was this mimer. And every year for 42 years, for 41 years after, pretty much, he would say a mimer on his father-in-law's yahrzeit on Yud Shvat, starting with the words Basi Legani, analyzing one chapter of the previous Rebbe's mimer, because the previous Rebbe's mimer had originally 4 Maimorim. There was Basi Legani, Ayesheves Leganim, and 2 others, and it had a total of 4 Maimorim, and it consisted of 20 chapters. And every year he analyzed one chapter. So from 1951 through 1970, he analyzed the entire mimer one time, and then from 1970 to the, I think, mid-80s or 86 or 87 or 88, I forget which year in particular, he went through the Maimorim another time. Anyway, so he says here, he quotes the Medrash, that Basi Legani Achoisi Kala. This Medrash is said in conjunction with Har Sinai, with the giving of Torah. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm giving you the Torah, and when I am giving you the Torah on earth, I'm coming back to a place that I was originally at. And I was kicked out of this place. You guys caused me to leave. You kicked me out. Because you did sins, transgressions. And now I'm returning. And I'm returning it. I'm giving you a special gift. I'm giving you the Torah HaKadosh, the Holy Torah. So he says, Basi. Right? It doesn't say Basi, I have Legani, I have come to my garden. I have come back. It doesn't say Basi Legan, I've come to a garden, but rather Basi Legani. The implication is, Yehuda, that this was a place that he was at once before. And he calls it Yoni. Legani literally means to my garden. It has another meaning, Lignuni, to my place of delight. In Yiddish, there's a word, my geschmack. I have a geschmack of something. I really enjoy it. You know, when I sit and learn a good piece of halacha and Gemara, Boaz, I have a geschmack. I get real, enjoyment from it. So Hashem says, what?
Or a good piece of schmaltz, Rabbi.
Okay. So, when Hashem says that I've come back to my garden, and this is where I have my geschmack. Basi Legani Achoisi, my sister, my group, my bride. Anyway, and then the Medrash says, what took place? Why does he have to come back? Because he was once here, like I told you, and he was kicked out. And what part of him was here? It says, Iker Shechina betachtoinem hoisa. The primary Shechina, the primary aspect of Hashem that is found in the world was here. And the Rebbe asks a very simple question. Why does it say Ikar? If it wouldn't say Ikar, if it would say Shechina hosa betachtoinem. The Shechina was on earth. And it was kicked away, and now we're reuniting with it. It would also seemingly make sense. So from there, he went on to explain, first, what is the Shechina? And he brought from each of the Lubavitcher Rebbes, from the Alter Rebbe, the Balatanya, through the Rebbe Rashab, a concept of Shechina. And in Kabbalistic terminology, and in Hasidic terminology, Chabad Hasidic terminology, and basically proving the point that Shechina is the level of Hashem that touches the deepest part of Hashem and is invested in this world. That's the Shechina. And Iker Shechina, Iker Shechina. Iker Shechina is that level of God. So basically we're talking about the essence of Hashem. In other words, a person shouldn't make a mistake and think, oh, you know what I'm getting on earth? I'm only getting a pulka. You know what pulka is, right? a shank bone. I'm not getting the heart of the chicken. I'm not getting the schmaltz. I'm not getting the essence. So that's why we're saying no. Iker Shechina. Hashem, in all of his glory and essence, was here. Ikar. Now, where is the here? So we explained number one, who, the what, and number two, where was it? Betachtoinim. And betachtoinim implies the lowest of the low, not a high place, not a sophisticated place, but betachtoinim means on earth, Gashmias as Gashmias gets. It was over here that Hashem found himself, enjoyed himself, and we have to bring him back down on earth. Which, by the way, is important for us too. You know, when your child grows up and goes away, and you talk to them on the phone, today on the email, on the Facebook, on the WhatsApp, but it doesn't compare to seeing them face to face and giving them a hug. It doesn't. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. When you see, and the same is true for a person. I'm talking to you. It's nice. We see each other. We smile, we laugh, we joke, we learn. It's great. But when we see each other in person, it's a whole different experience. That's the facts of life. The same is true with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was found in Atzilus, and in Bria, and in Yetzirah, and in Asiya, and with Malachim, and all that, it's great. But it's not betachtoinim. You find a similar idea with Chodesh Elul. What do the rabbis teach us? That specifically Chodesh Elul, the king is in the field. In other words, he's dressed like one of us. He has jeans. He wears a blue shirt. He's not wearing a white shirt. He's not wearing a hat. He's wearing a cap. He looks like one of us. Oh, we say, I can relate to you. He's ready to go to the ball game, the Super Bowl, and drink beer and eat popcorn and shout like a meshuganer. He's one of us, but tachtoinim. And we say, in that tachtoinim, at the Super Bowl, you're going to take out a sefer, and you're going to learn, and you're going to speak to someone about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and together with this, you'll shout and you'll make yourself crazy. So the point is that you have to be in the dirt, in the nitty-gritty schmutz, to experience tachtoinim. And it's from there that you pick yourself up and you said, this is nonsense. I need to take this schmutz and make it beautiful. And the Rebbe, like I told you, in 1970, I believe, or 71, I forget which year, said a whole sicha on Basi Legani, a very long sicha, a very long talk. And the Rebbe said, contrary to the way we think about this world being a place of terror and a place of problems and headaches, the Rebbe said, this is a place that's a garden. It's a rose garden. It's great. It smells great. I recall when I was living near San Francisco, they have over there in Geary Park, I think. I forget exactly. They have the Japanese gardens. And if you just walk through it, you get a high. You just get a high walking through it. You're surrounded by beautiful flowers, exotic flowers, and the smell is delicious. And you're just walking through the garden. Walking through a nice garden is an exhilarating experience. And that's why it's worth making a nice garden if you have a garden to make a nice garden. If you only have bricks and mortar, you can't make a garden. Anyway, so Basi Legani, I have come to my garden. Now let's continue on page 194 as he continues elaborating and developing this thought. We are on the second paragraph. Umamshich b'hamaimer. Umamshich b'hamaimer. The Rebbe says, our Rebbe says that my father-in-law, Yoni, he continues in his discourse upon which I am expounding, quote, and after the 7 sins causing the Shechina to be removed, came along 7 righteous people, tzaddikim, and they caused the Shechina to come down below. Who are these people, Pinchas? Avram merited, and through his actions, Shalom, he caused the Shechina to come down from the 7th to the 6th heaven. The Rebbe says, and my father-in-law is brief, and he concludes, he doesn't go through Yoni each and every of the 7. But he puts the emphasis, guess what? The one sitting in the back at the table, our most favorite student, Moshe. Atki Moshe. Until came along Moshe. Listen, Moshe, about your name and who you are. Remember, stop eating for a second and concentrate. Atki Moshe Shuashvi. He comes along, it's Moshe, who is the 7th guy. He's the 7th from the 1st. And look at this. In a brackets, in a parentheses, the previous Rebbe adds 3 words, which he didn't say in the original discourse that he said. This is based on a discourse said in 1923. And over there he doesn't say these words, but here he does. V'chol hashvi'in chavivin. All 7ths are most beloved. Your 7th child, I have, thank God, 7th child. She happens to be my youngest, but the Rebbe says, V'chol hashvivin, the Medrash says, chavivin. The 7th is most beloved. Why? Shabbos, the 7th day of the week. 7 attributes, 7 emotions. 7. So the Rebbe says, Moshe Rabbeinu was the 7th tzaddik, who was the most beloved. What did he do? Ridu lemata ba'oretz. It is he, not Avram, not Yitzchak, not Yaakov, not Yosef, but only Moshe Rabbeinu was able to accomplish that he took the Shechina with all of its glory and he got it down here. He broke through. You understand? That's an amazing thought. You have all these heavy hitters and they can't get it done. And it took Moshe Rabbeinu, only he, because he's the 7th, and because the 7th is most beloved, Hashem gifts Moshe Rabbeinu with an extra issue. And that issue is, bring it back home. Bring it, don't give me any excuses. Angels, souls, transmigration of souls, where was I, who am I? It's all nice philosophies, or some would say Bubba Mises. Nonsense. I gotta see it in the bank. If I can't see it and count the money in the bank, or if I cannot count how many students are at the shir, it's all nice. We have a koilo, but how many people are learning Chasidus with you? You gotta, and the same is, bring me home your marks. What did you get on your test? And what are you doing about it? So this is the idea of Chol HaShvi. Yes, Shmuel.
Yeah, the idea is that it went finally from the final jump. The Kashmir, that was the big jump.
Right. Right. Correct. Yeah, Shmuel's paraphrasing that when it says in the Medrash, V'chol hashvim hayridu lamata ba'aretz, what's so gevaldik, what's so special, Shalom? To be able to jump from spirituality to physicality is the biggest jump and a difficult one. And that's what Moshe accomplished. He made the transition from the Ruchnias, which were the first 6 tzaddikim, to the Gashmias. Let's continue now in the Bible. The Ikiri Yashach like the Moshe. Moshe Byers, look what it says here, that the main thing of drawing down God was done through Moshe. Shari Moshe dafka hirid lamata ba'aretz, because he specifically was the one who brought it down to earth. Just Hillel, just as we discussed in the removal, Yonason, of the light of Hashem from below to heaven, from bottom up, right? Remember we had a discussion yesterday, Yoni, you asked me about Chaim vanish. So what did we learn yesterday? That although and there's these bad sins, right? But who is the crook of all crooks? Adam. Because his sin caused the main issue, which is, just like Shmuel said, the greatest thing is to bring from Ruchnis to Gashmis. He made the Or Hashem, the light of God, go away from Gashmis to Ruchnis. As long as I have it here, I have hope, Okay, you're in Bet Shemesh. But if you know that your parents are in South Africa, in Chicago, in here, there, it gives you and the same is true, by the way. Nebuch, if someone is life support, halach, we don't remove it normally. Why? There's hope. But the doctors tell you there's no hope. That's what they say. God can say different. A person is always hopeful. So all the Chaim ve'Enosh and all the sins, they were sins. But guess what? Those sins were all relative. They didn't cause a complete departure from on earth to heaven. Because once it leaves from earth to heaven, gone, goodbye. It's gone. It's over the fence. It's in the bleachers. It's way out. And maybe in the old Shea Stadium it can hit even, where? The railroad, the station, the number 7 train, the Queens Line. Right? The hit, or in Baltimore, with that new stadium, if someone hits the ball 450, 500 feet, it's out of here. But it's not out of here. It's in the ballpark where a fan could take the ball and throw it back, but you can't get to it because it's over the entire roof of the stadium. Out. So, what's the point? Adam Arishan, as great as he is and was and who he represents, but when it came to transgression, his bite of the fruit and what he did when he was told not to caused the worst problem. It's called death. That's why people die. And until Mashiach comes, there won't be rectification of that. So this is what he says. Just as we're discussing that Moshe Rabbeinu was the 7th, and he brought the Shekhinah from heaven to earth, so too in the removal of the Shekhinah, who was the one that did kind of the worst transgression, because, in other words, if someone asks you, Shalom, if someone asks you, whose sin was worse? Yonason, wake up. If someone asks you, whose sin was worse? Adam Arishon, Adam, or Cain? What would you answer? Cain. Right? Right?
Before you just said we would answer that.
Right. But the truth is, what we're learning now is no. Outwardly, Cain's sin was worse. But Cain's sin didn't cause the Shekhinah to completely be removed from the physical world. Whereas Adam's sin, which is the sin of all sins and the first sin, it caused the incomplete removal. So from that perspective, and that is the main perspective, it's the worst issue. It reminds me of the previous Rebbe writes in his talks. There are different types of ways that you embarrass a person or you hurt a person. Cheating them, hitting them, cursing them, whatever, all kinds of, right? But then he says there's a way of hurting a person where you don't do any of the above, and it's even worse than all. Do you know what that is? It's when someone walks through the door in the kollel now, and you all turn around to see, who is this new guy? And all of a sudden, someone knows who he is, and all you do is you just make what you know is like this. Or you shrug your shoulders to the right or to the left. Says the previous Rebbe, there's a pasuk, Ki ba'arga bi'apam hargu ish, Shimon and Levi. With their anger, they killed people, right? With the story of Dinah. So ba'apam literally means anger. Listen to this vart and write it down because it's a beauty. Ki bi'apam also means with their nose. With their nose, they killed the people. Just by the movement of the nose, they destroyed the person. You don't have to beat them. You don't have to rob them. What?
There's a phrase in English, looking down your nose at somebody.
Yeah. So the Rebbe says just the movement of the nose or the shrug of the shoulders to the right or the left, when the guy walks through the door, you've like killed him. In other words, he's a nobody. He's a nobody. I don't even want to, right? But you didn't say anything. You didn't say anything. And maybe you didn't even consciously think. But guess what? Your nose or your shoulders automatically moved to the right, the left, upward, downward, center, forward, backwards. Why? Because your body hates this guy so much that it just automatically moves. Ki ba'apam, with your nose, horgu ish. So we're learning here about this idea of Adam Arishon, that Adam Arishon Boaz is responsible for the removal of the Shekhinah from earth to heaven. That's the worst type of issue. So although all he did was he ate something he should have not eaten, nevertheless, it's comparable. I'm comparing it to someone who doesn't beat you or steal you or steal from you or cheat you, but just makes a funny facial gesture or body gesture, and with that, boom, you killed the man. And this is something we have to pay attention to. And that's why the hate of Adam is worse than Chaim Dalfin. Back to the text.
That's from the Friedrich Rebbe?
Well, it's a combination of the previous Rebbe and I think the Kotzker Rebbe, the original Ger. They're very sharp. I think I've put together the two ideas, but the Friedrich Rebbe says it, briefly. But I think the original Taich on the verse Ki B'apam Hargu Ish, my recollection is from the Ger or the Kotzker Rebbe. Let's go further. What did he say?
Saying from the Chafetz Chaim. It came from the Chafetz Chaim.
Okay, I'm writing now all about the Chafetz Chaim. I'm writing already, Baruch Hashem, about 20 pages, so it's interesting you say it's from the Chafetz Chaim. I didn't hear the name of Chafetz Chaim, but I'll take it. It doesn't sound like Chafetz Chaim to me. To me, it sounds more like Kotzk. But whatever, Chafetz Chaim, Kotzk, it's all good people, all holy people. Let's go further. What did he say?
We'll say it in a moment.
Let's go further. Thank you very much, Pinchas. Thank you for telling me that it's from the Chafetz Chaim. So, now I'll include him when I repeat the story, I guess. Now, just as regarding the removal, the main issue is the removal from earth to heaven. So too, we're drawing it down from above to below. The main thing is to draw it down below, but it's dafke on earth. Like Shmuel said from Ruchtis to Gashmis. And the Rebbe says, besides for the fact that what's most relevant to us is the issue of bringing it down here, right? If we don't have it here, fantasize and hakachinik, but you don't have it here. So what's most relevant to us is I have the Shekhinah right with me, right here. The Rebbe says it's not just about us. You understand, Yoni? In other words, that I can count on it. That's true, but he says the main thing is that we're talking about when it comes to Hamshacha, drawing down God, the main interest of God is to be here. So in other words, it's not just a selfish issue. I want God. I want to feel Him. No, he says God in His genuine godliness wants to be here below. He doesn't want to be with the angels only. He doesn't want to be with the celestial beings because all of that is only a spiritual experience. Let's continue. Moshe Myers, again, the third time in one paragraph. Today is your lucky day, Moshe. So he says that this is accomplished through Moshe specifically. This idea is accomplished through Moshe. The Rebbe says, and the reason why this is so, my father-in-law explains it in the Maimer in a parenthesis, Kikol Hashvi Chavivim, because all sevenths are beloved. So now, the next paragraph is going to elaborate on the idea of the seventh. So I think it's important for Moshe to hear and understand yourself better. You'll understand through the next paragraph. Let's continue. V'hinei Meloshin Razal, from the terminology of the Razal, Chol Hashvi Chavivim, and all sevenths are most beloved. V'loi, look at this, Boaz. V'loi Kol HaChavivim Shavin. It doesn't say, and all beloveds are number 7. Right, Yehuda? Right? Kol HaShviin Chavivin. It doesn't say, Kol HaChavivin Shviin. Why? He explains. Muchach mezeh, this implies, She'ikar HaMailahu Zeh Shu Shvi. That the main specialty of Moshe, it is not that he's beloved, but rather that he's number 7. And because he's 7, that is why Hillel, he is loved. He's most loved. This means that the reason he's loved is not because he chose to be loved. He willed to be loved. And he acted in a way that he deserves love. The very fact, Chevre, that he is 7, he is automatically in the category of my beloved. Very interesting. Yoni, this comes by birth. That's what I told you. Your 7th child. And nevertheless, in other words, why should you love the seventh? Maybe the 7th is really your hardest child. Maybe the issue of 7 is problematic and troublesome. Says the Rebbe, that's what the Medrash is saying. Nevertheless, although consciously and rationally, maybe the 7th is not worthy of the extra love or the most love, nevertheless, there's an aspect of the 7th that automatically, the word for automatically in the Maimer Hillel is mitzad hatulda, due to the birth, that it is that way, that it happened automatically without my choice. I was born as a 7th child to my parents. Moshe Rabbeinu was the 7th tzaddik of the 7 tzaddikim who brought back down the Shekhinah from heaven 1 to heaven 2, heaven 2 to heaven 3, and all the way down. Moshe brings it to the world. Why? Because he's 7. So there is an aspect of 7 that's independent of my choice and my activity, right? And in fact, it could be I'm not worthy of it, but from on high, you're number 7. Let's continue. So he explains that. You see the word zocha, merited. It's a schus. You know what a schus is? A schus is you cannot earn it. You can't create it. I'm sorry, you can't create it. You can earn it. You can earn a schus by being a good boy and doing what you're supposed to. Guess what? Afterwards, Hashem gives you a schus. But at the end of the day, it's a schut. It's a merit. In other words, Hashem owes nothing to us. Hashem owes nothing to the 7th guy. So why does he choose, Yoni, that this person is number 7? The person has to feel, because I merited to it. I'm a lucky man. I'm a lucky man that I'm born number 7, or I'm involved with number 7. Let's continue. And he says, that's why Moshe, who was the one that gave us the Torah? Remember, the Maimer is, Basi Legani was said when the Torah was given to Har Sinai. It was Moshe Rabbeinu. You know why Moshe, out of all the other tzaddikim, is the one who brought the Torah down below to us on earth? It's because he's number 7. So he gets extra brownie points. Why? Because he's number 7. You don't like it? Too bad. Ask God, send him an email, send him a complaint. But Hashem's decided, number 7, your business is to bring that Torah down back to earth. So it's a schus. You have to always think about this. It's a schus. When my father-in-law came to America in 1940, he explained, he said then, Yoni, that even in the virtue of being number 7th, and therefore being beloved, more beloved, one recognizes the virtue that number 1 has. When we say 7, that means there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 preceding the 7. He's the 7th to number 1. So automatically, when you say 7, you're already taking as an established fact that there is a 1, a first. Ubir as my and my father-in-law explained at the time, what is the gewaldige gedula, we say? What's the specialty, the greatness of the first? Shu Avram Avinu. This is Avram. Mipnei Avodosa, because of his activities, work, monotheism. He was a Chabadnik standing on the streets of Tel Aviv, and he was offering tefillin and talking to Jews, and he went to the campuses, and he couldn't sit still, and he went to the nursing homes. He was an activist. Avram was, the Rebbe once said by a Farbrengen, Avram was the first Ufaratztonik. You know, Ufaratzta, which was the slogan of Chabad in the 1950s and 60s, go out and disseminate Torah to other Jews who are not yet knowledgeable. So it was all encapsulated in that verse in the Torah, Ufaratzta Yama Kaid B'Tzafoina V'Negba, and with the first word Ufaratzta. So the previous Rebbe in Hasicha says, Yoni, Avram Avinu was an Ufaratztanik, like a Chabadnik, Ufaratztanik. So Avram is credited with being the first who actively worked on bringing Hashem into the world. And it says, and he did this, Yehuda, not by sitting on the couch and having all the good things come to him. He jumped into a fire, a kifshan or eish. He had a nimrod. He had, issues with his father Terach, on, and finally the 10th test, of course, the Akedah. So Avram had self-sacrifice. He paid his dues, big time. And my father-in-law does not suffice with this verbiage yet, still. And he adds more. After Lechura Eiza Negeah Sham the Guf Inyan, the Rebbe says that my father-in-law's extra comment in what she's going to say now isn't so relevant to the text there, or doesn't seem to be, but nevertheless he mentions it. And what does he say there? What was the manner and style of Nefesh? You know how you are looking to score the point, you want to be to yourself, you want to say, I accomplished it. I accomplished letting myself be killed for God, but I was searching for an opportunity where I could confront the enemy, and if the enemy says, you're dying, I'm shooting you, I'm sending you away, so be it. That's called chipes, to search. So the Rebbe says, Avram Avinu didn't search for Mesiras Nefesh. And look what he says further, very important. Shazeu HaHefresh. This is the difference between Avram Avinu, Mesiras Nefesh, Avram Avinu, La Mesiras Nefesh, top of 195, the Rabbi Akiva. We find, Sholem, two individuals in Jewish writing and history that had Mesiras Nefesh, that are the paradigms of Mesiras Nefesh, of self-sacrifice. One is Avram, one's Rabbi Akiva with the Romans. Da Mesiras Nefesh, der Rabbi Akiva, was hat gesucht Mesiras Nefesh. Rabbi Akiva Yoni looked for Mesiras Nefesh. Mosai Yovai Yodi Vakamena. The Gemara says, he said, when will I have the opportunity? When will it come to my hands? And I kamena, I'll be able to fulfill the mitzvah of Mesiras Nefesh. Mashain can conversely by Avram Avinu, Mesiras Nefesh, his self-sacrifice. It was like automatic. It was like, if it happens, it happens. Davrom Yoda she'ikir avoida hu k'meshekosov vayikra sham b'shem Hashem keileilu. It says in the Torah, Avram called there in the name of Hashem keil olam. It doesn't say al tikra vayikra. Don't read the word to say he called ela vayakri. He made others call as yener zol oich shrayin. Avram, not only did he shout God, 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 but he caused other people to shout it as well. And if Avram needed to do Mesiras Nefesh to get the job done, where others were also called in the name of God, he had that as well. But not Hillel that he was looking for Mesiras Nefesh. In other words, the only way that I'm going to have Mesiras Nefesh, I'm going to have other people call in the name of Hashem, you understand, is through Mesiras Nefesh. No, that's self-serving. That means otherwise you're not going to do it. It's like saying, it's not worth it for me. If I'm not going to get the big bang out of the buck, I ain't doing it. I'm looking for the kill. What's medium? A few bucks, it's not worth it. It's not worth my effort. So Avraham Avinu didn't say that. Avraham Avinu said, look, I'm going to do what you want, Hashem. If I'll need to apply Mesiras Nefesh, I'm ready. If I don't need to, I won't. So this is the difference between Avram and Rabbi Akiva. And so great was Avram's service and his self-sacrifice, to the point that even Moshe, who merited that the Torah was actually given to us through him, it is because he is the seventh to a first, that he's the seventh to the first. Hashem said to Moshe, you hear that, guys? With all the greatness that Moshe brought the Torah to us, the Medrash says, Hashem said to Moshe, in the place of greatness, do not stand. Remember where you're standing. Who is the greatness that he's referring to? Avraham Avinu. So the Rebbe's point here, and we'll talk about it maybe more tomorrow, Mr. Shem, that as great as the seventh is, he's a seventh to a first. And if you strip the first from the seventh, you have no seventh. You hear me? So on one hand, the seventh is the special one because he's chosen from on high. It's a schutz, he's number 7. But number 7th to the first. Okay, Chevra, tomorrow we'll continue to Shem. It's a Geshmaka Inya. We'll maybe take it a little more apart. Everyone have a great day. Only good things. And Hatzlacha. Bye-bye.